Flash sees Ezra Miller's Barry Allen, aka The Flash from the Justice League, travelling back through time to try and stop the events that led to his mother's death and ultimately his father being imprisoned for the murder. But as we know, having seen many time travel movies over the years, it never goes so well, does it? Somebody travels back through time, messes something up, and it doesn't quite go the way they'd hoped. So yeah, that's essentially what happens in this film, and it brings in a DC multiverse, much in the same way that Spider-Man No Way Home did. Now, this has been one of my most highly anticipated movies of the year, for the primary reason that it's got one, multiple Batmans in it, and two, one of those Batmans just happens to be Michael Keaton. I've waited 30 odd years for a Michael Keaton kind of sequel to the Tim Burton movies, and essentially this is it. But yeah, I never thought it would happen, and the fact that it has, to me, is just, it's a miracle. It's everything I wanted. Keaton in the Batman suit, being badass, even more badass, I would say, half the time than what he was in the Burton films. Seeing Keaton diving about like he was 30 years younger than he is. Admittedly, a lot of that will be through stunt doubles and whatnot, but they pull it off. They make it look like him. You believe he's doing the maneuvers that he's doing, and it's just awesome to see him back as Batman. I loved every minute that he was on screen. Ben Affleck as well, again, big Batman fan, so it was awesome to see him back as Batman. He gets a really nice action set piece to do, so he's not just brought back as Bruce Wayne and given a few scenes to talk, which is something I was worried about. I maybe felt like they'd put some stuff in the trailer that it wasn't going to quite live up to as much, but no, it's a really incredible sequence with him. Although I will say there's some CGI moments in that sequence and throughout that don't quite hit the nail on the head. Maybe a bit too much CGI work going on at times, but for the most part, action set pieces across the board are highly entertaining. Sasha Calle, or Calle, I don't know how you pronounce that, as Supergirl, again, really phenomenal. I obviously would have preferred to have us, Henry Cavill's Superman back in the DC universe and whatnot, but I know he was never intended for this film anyway, so as it stands, she does a really good job with the character. So the big test with this film obviously was Ezra Miller. Now, due to his off-screen antics over the past couple of years, it's grown very easy to dislike this man as a human being. So going into this, knowing what you know about him, it's kind of like, oof. But not only is he playing one Barry Allen in this, he's playing two, as anyone who's seen the trailers will know, and that's quite a hard feat. To play against yourself, to act one side, then do the other side and make sure they're in sync. And actually, he nails it. The performance across the board from here, or the performances across the board from him here, are absolutely spot on. And I gotta say, it was very easy whilst watching this film to forget his off-screen antics, just because of how likeable he made Barry Allen, and just how much I kind of became engrossed in Barry's journey. There's one particular moment towards the end of the film where he gets a real emotional sequence. I felt it was quite palpable in the cinema that I was in. I felt like everyone around me, including myself, was really involved in that moment with what was going on emotionally with the character. One final actor I would like to mention is Ron Livingston. Now, I've got nothing against Ron Livingston as an actor, but give me Billy Crudup any day of the week. What Billy Crudup was able to do with his like one or two sequences in the Justice League and a little bit more fleshed out in Zack Snyder's Justice League, I thought he was able to just bring so much more to that character in those short scenes than what Livingston gets to do here. So this ends up being a film about fate and the moments that define us, and can we avoid them, should we avoid them, how do they shape us, if you take those moments away, are we the same person? All the usual stuff you would kind of expect to see in a time travel movie of this ilk, particularly a superhero time travel movie. And I know there may not necessarily be an abundance of that specific type of time travel movie, but I've seen enough in TV shows and all that kind of stuff to know roughly where this was heading. To there was really only one outcome, with regards to Barry's story in this. If you've seen a lot of TV shows, superhero TV shows, I think you'd kind of figure out where it's going to end up. However, the journey of getting there was just so entertaining. I didn't really care about any minor predictabilities. And when we did eventually get to the inevitable destination, as I say, it was emotional. And that's the big thing for me. Can you, even if I know where you're going, you know, think Titanic, James Cameron's Titanic, we all know it's going to sink. But can you thrill me emotionally? Can you take me on that journey and still make me feel something, despite the fact that I know where it's going? And this film does that. Easily my favourite film of the year so far. I'll definitely be going to watch this again, and I highly urge you to do the same before online people spoil everything that can be spoiled in the film. I mean, I went into this, to be honest, knowing far too much. I feel because of, you know, internet folk. But even though I knew a lot of stuff, a lot of the surprises that were coming, I still couldn't help but have a huge smile on my face. That's my thoughts on The Flash. What about you? Have you seen it? I mean, it's only just opened today in UK, so chances are you haven't. Will you be going to see it? Are you looking forward to it? Once you have seen it, come back, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, cracking.